Welcome to the Kentucky Bourbon Traveler. Today, we're going to take a look at barrels and rickhouses. We're also going to go to Heaven Hills. And we're going to profile Elijah Craig's Small Batch 94 Proof. And we're going to make bourbon cream and give you the ingredients and the recipe. Hi, thanks for joining us. I'm Ken. Welcome back to Louisville, Kentucky. In June, the Bourbon Distillery in Lexington, Kentucky had one of their 1940s 7-story rickhouse walls collapse. 9,000 barrels spilled out the side. If you had dipped a glass in the local stream, you could have had a bourbon, 1792 bourbon, with water. There was a hangover for some fish, and worse for others. The state and EPA is looking into the report that 800 fish were killed. We were curious how it would have happened. Well, other than it was an 80-year-old building. So we went back over to Heaven Hill for a rickhouse tour. You might be familiar with some of Heaven Hill brands. If I said Evan Williams, Elijah Craig, and Parker's Heritage brands of bourbon. Heaven Hill's Heritage Center is home to a great deal of rickhouses. Heaven Hill can tell you just about anything you want to know with 52 rickhouses out there. The rick was a common measure of firewood in a 4x8 stack. And as you can see, 3 high, 3 across barrels fit nicely in a rick. Stacks of ricks on multiple floors are usually used for aging. This is an antique alarm system that they use to identify if a structure is leaning over. How it works is, as you can see, the white string going to the ceiling goes ahead and holds a plumb bob that runs from the ceiling to the floor, like this one. They're on 4 corners of the rickhouse and in the center. They show how the structure is moving and shifting. As they move from in the middle of the circle to the sides, they give a warning the structure is leaning more to one side, and it's time to move some barrels to keep the weight from being unequally distributed. Barrels lose an amount of whiskey after years of aging. The weight of these barrels change, and stress on the rickhouses in some areas is much greater than others. These large 53-gallon barrels hold the bourbon as it ages. The steel hoops are tightened to compress the barrel's wood staves and are drawn tighter if they leak. Barrels are moved into place with a hydraulic jack these days, but in the past several men moved these 500-pound barrels up a ramp like this to move them. Kentucky, which is always humid, has summers that are scorchers and winters cold with high humidity, which brings bourbon in and out of the wood and gives it the amber color. As it ages from time to time, the product is sampled from the one hole at the top of the barrel. Here I am drawing out a sample with a whiskey thief, a long tube suction tool. Today we're profiling Heaven Hills Distillery's Elijah Craig Small Batch 94 Proof. Heaven Hill Distilleries has been around since about 1935 and is one of the larger distillers and members of Kentucky's Bourbon Trail. Elijah Craig Small Batch 94 Proof is a traditional sipping whiskey. It's blended from less than 200 barrels of not only 12-year-old whiskey, but 8-year-old whiskey. I picked up this bottle for $27, and when you look at small batch bourbon, that's a bargain price for almost 12-year-old whiskey. This bourbon tastes of vanilla, caramel, and tastes very mature and very oaky. Elijah Craig is aged in Bardstown, Kentucky, a few miles from the historic My Kentucky home. The barrels and their pieces or staves, like these, are burned or charred inside of the barrel to a number 3 char without the additional toasting that many distilleries do on their barrels. The grain ingredients or mash bill is said to be 75 to 78% corn, 13 to 10% rye, and 12% malted barley. This recipe provides a more authentic, traditional whiskey taste with less of a refined finish, and does have some more burn than some other bourbons. Elijah Craig can be found in different ages and prices, including the small batch, barrel proof, single barrel, 18 year, and 22, and also 23.
Hi, I'm Christiane, originally from Würzburg, Germany, and today we are going to make Kentucky Bourbon Traveler Bourbon Cream. So basically our ingredients is heavy cream, whiskey, sweetened condensed milk, chocolate fudge sauce or chocolate syrup with vanilla and instant coffee. And then we have, we mix the instant coffee with a little bit of half and half warmed up so the instant coffee kind of dissolves. So now we're gonna pour our condensed milk in a bowl. You don't want to use a mixer because the whipping cream would get kind of stiff like whipping cream, and you don't want foam in your bourbon cream. Chocolate fudge is better than chocolate syrup. I found this out making it for a long time. So you kind of mix these ingredients together. And you can see it's kind of thick because of the sweetened condensed milk has a thick texture. Now I'm gonna add my whipping cream and mix it all nicely, so it's all mixed together. And then you add lots of bourbon, which the recipe be on end of our show. And you mix it all very well together, and the aroma is fantastic. So you can use any glass bottle you want, or you can get you some with a little cork in it. If you want a deco piece, you go get you a nice little deco bottle. And now we are going to fill our bottle. Enjoy. That.
Kentucky Bourbon Traveler is proud to be a member of the Stave and Thief Society Bourbon Certification Program. Last year, the Kentucky Distillers Association announced the official bourbon education program, the Stave and Thief Society. It's the official bourbon education course endorsed by master distillers and 33 distillers in Kentucky. If you enjoy getting your bourbon certificate online, even in Europe and Canada, contact Kristen Head at 502-266-7377 or go online, registrar at staveandthief.com. The Kentucky Bourbon Traveler.